Hey guys, how's it going? Anna, Alchemist of the Arts here. I thought I would share some intuitive thoughts and feelings about the current energy, some of what I've been going through, experiencing, and in turn that might help some of you with what you've been feeling and experiencing. I'm filming this just before the final eclipse of Eclipse season 2022. However, there might be some nuggets of wisdom in here for you if you suddenly stumble across this at any point in time. I'm going to do my best to explain things from my experience, from my perspective. I do dip into astrology, but I am not an astrologer. So just to put that out there as a disclaimer, only ever take what feels right for you. I'm sure this won't resonate with everybody, but I do feel called to share more of these messages again. So that is what I'm going to do. So welcome. As you probably are aware, we are coming towards the end of eclipse season, and I find eclipse seasons are always times of very intense, acute transformational processes and cycles. I think of all the times of year, if you've been working on your own work for a while, your own growth cycles, your own evolution, awakening, ascension, whatever you call it, however it relates to you personally, you probably find you go through cycles, periods of intense learning, lessons, phases we might go through as we bring things to light within us. And then we go through a phase of really attuning with those energies. So if you think about it, if we go through those periods of awareness and seeing the shadow as we often do, through eclipse season, having that shadow brought to our focus, brought to attention, it's literally shining a light on the dark places within us. And it's not that they're dark as in there's something wrong with them, it's just hidden within the subconscious, hidden within that shadow of everything that we are aware of. And it's really important to understand, like I said, it's not that we can extricate ourselves from the shadowy aspects, but merely they come to light, they come to the surface to be felt, to be experienced, to be seen, expressed, understood, and then ultimately we integrate them, we understand, accept them, begin to love those parts of ourselves and pull it all together because we are one unified whole. That's how I see it anyway. That's like the work to me. So we go through these phases, and the eclipse season can feel incredibly acute. Like I said, we've also had the Mercury retrograde, so there could have been a lot of shifting energies for you. And when I say acute, it could be that you've had multiple rapid cycles. I see them as like death and rebirth cycles. I've been focusing a lot on snake symbology, so a lot of my artwork, this is manifest a lot through my artwork in snake symbology, but I also obviously work a lot with runes, so that's like the runes daggers and iras, and also you could put reversed algaes in there as well. So it's those kinds of energies. We're going through those phases of seeing something, being aware of something, deciding that that thing has served its purpose within our life, or perhaps it's an emotion, an experience within us that we no longer feel in resonance with or no longer wish to experience, or something we feel we've outgrown. It could feel different for all of us. It could feel like all of those within different things in our life. It could just feel like rising irritation, frustration. I've had enough, I need change. And then we literally go through that process of clearing, healing, releasing, in order to shed that skin and to step into the new way of being, to embrace the new frequencies, to step up on the spiral, whichever way you want to look at it. It will feel different for everybody, and obviously you will have your own experiences with it. But the purpose of going to those deeper, darker places, of illuminating the subconscious, of bringing these perhaps repressed, hidden, unexpressed aspects of us to light, is to show what is subconsciously running the show, where we're still reacting from, what still has the ability to trigger us in ways that we perhaps don't want to be triggered anymore. Sorry if you can hear the dog. She's always bimbling around when I do readings or whatever. You're going to come and join me. Come on then. I just paused it for a second there so I wasn't waffling on at you. So these unconscious parts of ourselves that can still trigger us, we probably get to a point where we realize that that no longer resonates with the person that we want to be. So on the one hand, we have this is the very now, this energy, this rising energy of need, of desire, of what it is that we want to achieve, to manifest, to embody, to be, to fulfill our potential, our soul potential, that nudge from unseen, unknown places that causes us to want to grow. And married with that is the intense frustration of the old way of being. So we have this equal invitation to embody both at once. And obviously this completely fits with the laws of polarity and correspondence. It is equally being in both aspects at the same time, the shadow and the light, if you want to put it that way. The things that we no longer wish to be, and everything that we're dreaming of being, manifesting being, embodying, embracing, growing into. It's being in both of those at once, and then deciding that actually, to bring these into unity within me, I need to look at perhaps these shadowy aspects, bring some focus, some attention to them, bring them to light within me, and then realize that I don't have to separate myself from them, but I have a conscious choice. And you often find that going through that process of giving them the focus, the attention, the energy actually brings that kind of peace to it, because it's no longer hidden. It's no longer in the shadow. It's now been, it might not necessarily have been fully healed and resolved. I mean, we can go through multiple cycles with particular experiences. And it's always really important to remember that this is so personal. Your soul growth, your soul expansion, your soul experiences are completely unique to you. So whilst we look at other people and we might think that they're doing amazingly well, and that's a massive reflection of everything in our 3D world and, all of the mechanisms, social media that we use. It's important to remember that we don't see everything in everyone else. And truly what we focus on is what we can focus on is what we can work on within ourselves. So really shifting through some of those ideas that we're imperfect based on outer perceptions or the feedback that we're receiving. There is no real perfection. There is this constant state of duality, and it's like a constant balance and juggling act. But it's understanding that that's absolutely okay. And we will go through these cycles likely for the rest of our existence. That's very much the reasons for our incarnation and our soul growth. So another important point to bring up with these energies, whilst the shadow and perhaps the acknowledgement of some of our deepest wounding and how that might manifest in our patterns within our life, it can bring up coping mechanisms that some of us might use to work with these or to mask these. It can bring up addiction, negative behaviors, and I say negative, something that you might perceive as something that you no longer want in your life, that kind of negative, because you want the alternative, which again brings us back to this idea of polarity. So a lot of these kinds of old states of being, identifications, coping mechanisms, addictions, experiences could have returned through this very acute phase, through eclipse season. But with it, once we can see this as an opportunity, as a gift to work with them, if we can be present and sit with how we're feeling or the experiences that are going on around us, and I know people say sit with the feeling. That is different for everybody. You might feel called to write something. You might feel called to verbally express how you are feeling. Feel into your body and where you feel a sense of discomfort. If it's the throat, you might feel like you need to communicate something in some way. Sorry, I thought we'd stop filming then. You might feel like you need to express something. There may be another person that you need to express something to. There may be a part of yourself that really needs to just feel heard, a memory that surfaces. But it often begins with a sensation within the body that leads to, and an emotion that can lead to some kind of experience that then we can relate to and then re-relate to, because all of our memories and experiences are literally now how we identify with them, because they no longer exist. That moment has passed, and all that exists is the memory, which is our identification with that experience. So a part of this healing work can be literally going back to some of those experiences, and I know this can be incredibly painful, and it's not something I would necessarily recommend doing alone. If I wouldn't necessarily intentionally do this alone if you're new to this, or always seek assistance, seek support from people you love, or from professionals if needed, because some of this stuff can be really truly very painful and very triggering. But when we go through some of those experiences and we bring this stuff to light within us, literally bring it up from the shadow, it gives us an opportunity to reconcile and re-identify with it, and to decide, okay, I honor this experience that happened. I know that this happened. I cannot change that it happened, but I can change how I identify with it, so it's not going to control or mold the rest of my future from this point onwards. And I appreciate, again, this can be really, really challenging, but these are some of these cycles. This can come up multiple times, and each time maybe manifest through different people, different experiences, the same emotions, the same triggers, manifesting through different people and experiences. Sometimes it's literally just a memory, but sometimes it's, and more often than not, it's reflected back to us. People continually treating us the same, to give us the opportunity to see what it is within us that is perhaps still active and being triggered. I hope this makes some kind of sense. So we go through those depths, and the depths at which we can go and explore the self, we reach the polaric opposite in terms of our awareness and our awakenings. And with that can suddenly come the experience of these Gnostic gifts, these deep spiritual gifts that suddenly from out of nowhere can surface. So that's one of the beautiful experiences through eclipse season, especially if you feel like you've been in the depths, fighting through trenches, doing your deep, deep work. It always comes with its gifts of awareness, gifts of awakening. And whilst some of those, and naturally clairvoyant gifts as well, the more we attune and awaken to our own soul nature, we can often find we come online with more of our spiritual gifts, or they enhance or become magnified in some way. So I don't want to sit here and say eclipse season is just a whole big horror mess, because I don't think that's it at all. It's very much an invitation to work with some of our deepest stuff, and through that deepest work we find our greatest awakening. So yeah, it's an invitation. When we go through these processes and we find some of these higher frequencies that we can then access, I think a lot of people, there could have been a lot of starseed activations, activations to higher frequencies and adjustments to higher frequencies. So you could suddenly feel that tipping point over the next few weeks, as this cycle shifts, as we're embracing this final eclipse. And I say that at the time of filming this, but on a bigger scale, on the larger scale, when we go through these very acute cycles, such as eclipse seasons, you will probably then find that they really, in a dual aspect, resolve some of the stuff that we've been working on through previous cycles, and then awaken within us this new stuff to work with. And whilst through meditation and awakening we can have really quick and instant awarenesses and epiphany moments, and it just that really expansive feeling, remembering to ground that into our physical human experience, which we cannot, for in a great many ways, extricate ourselves from, is to really embody that as wisdom. And that's why we're here on earth having these human experiences. It's to go through this soul expansion, but anchor those energies within us to help others, to help elevate the collective. So it's very much an acute phase through eclipse season, and there are obviously other acute phases through the rest of the year, but I often find this time really gives us the core aspects of what it is that we're going to work on integrating then through the coming months, the coming weeks, and again, all in cycles, all in phases. It's very, very natural to go through those phases, that night and day kind of a cycle. Sometimes these lessons are as quick as that. Sometimes integrating them and really embodying them is as quick as night and day. They can be really, really quick. I don't want to sit here and give you limiting beliefs and say they're going to be forever. It's going to take months. It's not always that way. But some things, when we hit core wounds and really, really deep stuff, epigenetic stuff that ripples through generations, or, star ancestry, really, really, and past lives, really deep, intense stuff. Sometimes that is the stuff we're here to work with throughout this lifetime. It's not to say that you can't get to increasing higher places with it. It's not to say that you can't resolve it, but don't get frustrated with yourself if you do feel like things return or revisit. I think the goal is to remember that you are perfect exactly as you are right now. You are exactly as intended, where you're supposed to be, and all of this is part of your experience, which you really can't mess up. So honoring and embracing the experience every step of the way can be challenging, but it's embracing those highs and lows and all aspects of self, and recognizing that they are all of who we are, and we wouldn't be who we are without all of them. So they're all important. Anyway, I've spoken at you for a very long time. I am going to do some more of these. I'm going to be doing more videos about learning the runes and sharing more of this content on YouTube, as well as some other platforms which I'm working on, and bringing things forwards in a different way. So I hope this was helpful for somebody. If you've got any questions, want me to clarify with another video, anything that I've touched on that you'd like me to explain in more detail, just let me know. I'm here for you. So sending you all my love, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.